rushed to help evacuate an animal shelter as the Nelson fire closed in. CBS 13's Dina Kupfer gives us a closer look from the Vacaville Police Department.
Dramatic police body cam video capturing intense moments as the Nelson fire raced toward the SPCA of Solano County. Behind these raw pictures, a group of Vacaville police officers. Evacuation orders had been put in place in Fairfield and Vacaville, and that included this SPCA facility with more than 60 animals inside, mostly cats and dogs, plus 2 snakes and mice. One by one, officers moved in, along with staff from Humane Animal Services and the SPCA, each one grabbing as many dogs and cats at a time as possible and rushing to their vehicles to get the animals to safety.
Just a great collaborative effort.
Okay. I got the wrong video, of course.
Well,
First, let's say good morning to the
Hi
audience.
everyone, how are you guys doing?
Hi everybody. We're having a special topic today.
Yep.
Like every week. This is about disaster.
A sad
And
topic, but we have to talk about these things.
well, it's because we want to have a positive twist on it. So yes, disaster is unavoidable. It can be hurricane, earthquake, flood, tornado. But when there's devastation, that's affect human, that affect also pets. And we are going to talk about what will be needed in order to get ready to have a state of preparedness for a disaster coming up. Earthquake is not predictable yet, but hurricane, flood, and tornado are predictable. So there's a way to get ready and to be in good shape when the disaster strike. I have a screen I would like to share with you, which is from FEMA first. And let me do that in a second. Blah, 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 blah. I have to pick up the right one, of course. And they're not. I know why I was having problem, because they were hiding. Now I have this file, this image here, and it's about preparedness. The first thing to do is to be ready. And how to be ready? Well, a number of facilities have fit. That's obvious because we're talking about that. I will scroll. Whoops, I have to be on the screen to be able to scroll FEMA screen. And one of the key elements there is to assemble an emergency kit for the pets. And this is probably one of the things which is the most neglected or not taken into consideration when finally we decide to evacuate. So what goes in the pet emergency kit according to FEMA? Some very basic things. Food and water for 3 days. Bowl. Manual can opener. Very important. You have cans of food, cannot open the can. Don't try a chainsaw, it doesn't work. Don't try a axe, it doesn't work. So that's one thing. And Roman, don't be shy to jump in at any moment when you want to make comments. The second recommendation is to have a medical record, and first aid kit.
Well, let me jump in right there.
Yeah,
First of all, with canned foods and water, the reason why we need water in an emergency situation is because usually after disaster, the water supply system is not working properly.
Mm-hmm.
Pipes are bursting, sewer is flooding, outdoors water access is usually mixed with soil, and wells are not working, power outage.
Mm-hmm.
You would not be able to use your faucet because you don't know if your water is contaminated until the authorities clear that for you. So at least I have a gallon per dog per day. My structure. I live in an RV, so I'm kind of like a little bit safe and secure here. However, I do have spare water bottles. I do have medications. in a watertight container. I just grab the container, throw it in the car, or
Mhm.
leave in that condition. People who have dogs with special needs medication,
Mhm.
um, for example, diabetes, that things have to be cooled, you have to be proactive on this one. You have to have ice packs
Mhm.
and proper storage that can last for a couple of days with those ice packs. For example, um, insulin and these kind of medications cannot be frozen, so the temperature has to be regulated. So these are kind of problems we have to look ahead of time.
Mhm.
So you need the refrigerator you can plug in on a car battery or in your car, so
Right.
at least have that as a safe place. The car can still, you can pull the battery out of a car, put it in a higher place, adjust, pull
Mhm.
poles in there and get the battery pack. A solar system can actually charge a small um, car refrigerator, so you have these options available.
Yeah.
Generators work for a certain amount of time, so this is a backup plan.
Mhm.
um, Leashes and collars, yes, they have to be tagged. Don't rely on your phone tags that you have on your dog. Make sure you have markers around your dog's collar. So you want to have a backup collar
Mhm.
that's bright and clear. You can mark it and just put that collar on if a disaster prepared has to be in place. If you live in California, no brainer. If you live in a hurricane belt, no brainer. If you live in Florida, no brainer. If you live in a mountain where there's a whole snow and things disasters, no brainer. You have to have those kits in place.
Mhm.
Uh, Crate and pet carriers. It's not just having one; it's having your dog comfortable in one as well. Important as having a proper size kennel.
Yep.
That kennel should be easily assembled. Don't go cheap. You will regret it. If you lift from a handle and the handle breaks off, that's not helpful.
Mhm.
If you try to tie down the kennel and the kennel is falling apart, so definitely go after um, air air certified crates.
Mhm.
Pictures of your dog and pet together. It's not an upside down belly rubbing picture. You should have clear indications of the pet's body.
Yes.
So spots, pictures, something very clear should be visible, because there are many dogs out there look the same, and I have seen people going after the wrong dog and fighting on court about the wrong dog, finally
Mhm.
figure out it's not really their dog, kind of thing.
Yep.
Important documents, put them in a Ziploc bag and put that Ziploc bag in another Ziploc bag. Okay, no big
Mhm.
deal,
Mhm.
because all Ziploc bags are not watertight under pressure. If they are submerged in water, because you have to walk around through in deep water, because you just got head high, you want to make sure all the documents are waterproof. I know people are smart that says, I'm gonna throw it down in the dishwasher, that's watertight. No, it's not. Okay,
Mhm.
a dishwasher is not a watertight location, and even though washing machine is not a watertight situation, because they all have vents for vapor to evacuate.
May I
So
interrupt you for a second?
yes.
We have a surprise. Kathy is here.
Oh, here you go.
Hey, Kathy, how are you doing?
Hi everyone.
Wow.
Hi.
From you.
I'm on my iPhone with Kelly, and we're in Las Cruces. I just wanted to pop in real quick and say hi to everyone, and we will absolutely be on the show next week from our new studio. You guys will love it. So
Great.
I
Yay.
just wanted to pop
Yay.
in just to say hi.
Thank
Okay.
Okay.
you.
Good
Thank you
show,
so
you
much.
guys.
Thank
And
you. Be
Bye.
well.
so everyone knows that Dale brought me down. Charlie was great in his truck, and everything. We're all safe, and I'm absolutely loving it. Gaetan, wait until you come here. You're gonna love it.
I'm waiting for your invitation. I'm coming. We'll be there soon.
Okay, am
Thank
I
you.
breaking up?
No,
Okay.
a little
Bye,
bit.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
That was Kathy. Very lucky. Thank you, Kathy. So, all these things make sense. Important document, registration, vaccination, and about the identity of your dog. Sometimes you have the, how you call that, the footprint on the dog as a way to identify your dog. So you have paws printed on
Mus-
the
muzzles,
muzzle.
noses.
Yeah. So all of that is help identification and recovery.
So
Other,
one
go
also
ahead.
important thing are also familiar items, what it says here, for toys, treats, and bedding, because dogs in displacement go into survival mode, and the
Mhm.
more comfortable they are, the more you have similar routines, the easier are to adjust. Many
Right.
people, I've seen this in many occasions. I've been also affected by Hurricane Sandy back in time,
Hmm.
and other hurricanes. I don't remember now all the situations, but and fire situations where I had to kind of safely move to a different place where you have to live with other people who have other pets.
Hmm.
So you have to have precautions.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just moving in and everything is fine. Dogs are stressed; they're gonna fight, and then you have bloodbaths going on. Saving your dogs, getting in a bigger trouble.
Hmm.
And plastic bags are great for littering. Some dogs will not be able to eliminate outside. Dogs may have to eliminate indoors. So you want to
Hmm.
have sure you can, dispose them and not adding additional problems into your neighborhood by adding the poop bags out there
Hmm.
and then swimming around.
Yeah.
Keep things uh, out of water, of course, that are dog related, just like dog food.
Yeah.
I definitely suggest people to do the work and put the individual Ziploc bags, a gallon Ziploc bags,
Hmm.
dog food in there, put them in a box and put them in a container and seal it up like a let's say a Home Depot bucket
Hmm.
sealed that
Hmm.
you can even use to help yourself and move around
Yeah.
as a carrier.
And FEMA's recommend during the disaster, uh, very obvious, bring your pet inside
Yeah,
immediately. Don't
I know
leave
it.
it.
I know it sounds funny, but I know people who tie their dogs outside,
Hmm.
okay, because they feel the dog should be free, and they tie them on a pole, and the leash was shorter than water level, and the dog's drowned.
Hmm.
Okay, a dog tied on a pole is better if you leave the dog free roaming in the house than leaving him outside. Even if you
Hmm.
have to leave the property and the dog cannot come with you for any reasons,
Right.
don't tie your dog. Put them in the highest level possible, and don't tie your dog down, so at least
Hmm.
people can have access to your dog.
Right. The other thing they suggest is separation from dog and cat, um, for the obvious reason anxiety might affect their behavior, and the relationship, even friendly on the normal condition, might become very aggressive in a disaster situation. As you mentioned before, canned food, because it's moist, and you will need less water and extra newspaper for sanitary reason.
The good thing with canned food, it's even if it's not inexpensive considering kibble as a storage, it has
Hmm.
a long shelf life
Yep.
and it doesn't get moist and dirty.
Yeah.
The only thing I would like you to do is to market as dog food, because if the food gets moist, the paper will peel and you don't know what's in it. So you're
Right.
gonna open up a can of beans and end up with dog food for lunch.
Yeah. Use a permanent marker. Don't use a
Right,
water.
a permanent marker, or you can even scratch it with your key on top, dog or
Yeah.
cat food in a
Yeah.
separation. Don't mix food for different animals. Cat food is not good for dog food,
Hmm.
and dog is not good for cats.
Yep. Excellent. So that's for our first step there, the preparedness. During, not only during, but after the disaster, this is where a lot of things happen, which can be life. How you say that in English? Life
Still,
and right, life and death situation. After the disaster, many dog would be, or pet in general, but dogs for our context might be separate from the owner,
yep.
and then there's a phase of rescue and research, rescue, and retrieving the dog. I have some illustration, and if you want to make some comment, application window, no. Okay, it's a Chrome tab, and I don't know which picture is this because it's like 1188, 28.9, is it 980, blah, 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 blah. It's not identified. See, this is a situation here during a hurricane, and you have a call for help, and you have people, dogs and cats in the house, and this is a situation where you need to rescue everybody. So let's say the owner left and the dog is in the house or is lost. What happened to the dog? What I found is there's a number of organizations specialized in rescuing pets. So they will go on the disaster zone, and they will search and rescue pets, and they will take that to a local shelter, and from the local shelter there's a lot of work done to take care of the animal and then move the animal out of the danger zone. And there's if the disaster takes place in the Gulf of Mexico in Florida, the region where the dog can be moved can be as far as Chicago, can be as far as Seattle, can be as far as Boston, or if it's not in a danger zone, of course. And I have a video from Chicago where they have received dogs in Chicago. So let me share this video. I have some problem today with the video sharing because there's too many. Anyway, there's a technical issue there. Let me select this video. And of course, I need to activate the video here. Come on.
Voice, don't forget the voice.
I hope I select the voice. I'll redo it. Bear with me. Share. Now the video changed position. This is what the interesting part is. Okay. Now I have video, I have sound. And this is happening in last week.
A handful of cats and dogs from Louisiana. The rescue group arrived back in Chicago earlier this morning with 10
You're
dogs
blowing
and
in your
15 cats from
microphone,
shelters
Roman.
affected by Hurricane Laura.
I don't know why I have the maximum sound here.
Hours back to Chicago
And
after loading up the animals in their van.
It's loud enough on your
The pets
side?
will be given a full medical exam,
Oh, I know why
vaccines,
it's
and
not loud,
microchips.
because
Once
my
they're medically
headphones
cleared,
are not connected
all
to
animals will be
the laptop. They
available
are
for
connected to
adoption
my
through
microphone.
Pause Chicago's virtual adoption process.
So I think we missed they have received about 34 animals.
The voice is gone.
Yeah, the voice is gone. So that's the transmission. I didn't do anything about the sound now. This is maximum. Okay, sorry for the transmission. My bad again. It's not what I was looking for. It's the video I was looking for, but basically what the thing is, they move pet across the country in a different way and different means.
Well, we need to understand why here.
Right.
The reason why is because if the weather comes in, shelters already evacuate their pets into local communities because that's the best way to transport them.
Right.
So you're going to have an adoption zone from an inner circle when the disaster is or coming up into the outer ring of that disaster. It could be 1 or 2 states because not all the shelters have capacities, but the dogs need to go out. So the shelters interact with each other and share dogs that are easily to be adopted out. So those shelters who are in the center zone will be able to take in dogs. So it's kind of like pushing the adoptable dogs out to get new dogs in. And so if you want to move your dog that is a personal dog, he has to go outside of that zone, which can be eventually 2 or 3 states away from you. So we don't know exactly where those dogs end up. Of course, there should be records, and rescue is supposed to keep records where the dog is coming from and is responsible to share information in that area the dog was adopted from. But many dogs change many hands. It's a brown dog. It's cute. That's the description he has. There is no name tag on it. And then the whole thing falls apart. So that's why it's very important to have at least name tags on it. Some people have even tattooed, a specific code or the dogs are microchipped,
Mhm.
and the microchipped are up to date. I know many people who microchip the dogs and never update those information, and so therefore the chip is there but no information is there, so therefore the dog is no one's dog other than the chip company.
Right.
So these are things that we don't think about, especially as a rescue. So definitely I would, if a rescue is organized, to have these automatic tapes that are being written and on top of the regular collars, so they can be identified based on behavior and temperaments. Is a dog good with other dogs? Is he fine in the introduction? Is it a medical condition? All these dogs are marked so they can be easily identified.
Yeah.
That's for a quick feedback on why we need to look for dogs further out in the States and why we need to be very careful how we move those dogs out of those disaster zones.
Yeah, based on what you just described, that's created a situation where you have a lot of dog homeless, displaced in a new shelter and about to be sent to a foster home. And so the question of having foster become something that if you want to foster a dog, a pet, there's some point that you need to know before you get committed. And I have a short document that I found from on the internet that I adapt for our purpose here. And this is a document saying there's basically 4 points of conversation on this document. And the first one is say that the pet will come from a shelter or a city pound. And that's very important, I think, because if you don't know where the dog's coming from, the first thing happen is the dog has not been has not been
vetted yet.
Right, vetted and examined and interact with. So that's a very important factor, to have a dog from a reliable sources, because from there everything would be connected. When you decide to be a foster parent for a dog, they will ask you for a certain duration, a certain period of time. It can be 2 or 3 days, or it can be 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the situation. And if you have pet, you have to be aware that this new puppy, new dog in your family need to be introduced to the other pet in your family. And you might have some suggestion there, Roman, in that regard.
I feel we need to be very careful when we open up our home for a foster care, because it's not just taking in a box from the mail.
Yeah.
It's a living being. It has needs. We need to be prepared that we have to dedicate a little bit time. I feel the dog that comes in from a stress situation, relocated away from his parents, is going through stress. So there is an introduction period, a kind of, let's say, a period where the dog is decompressing, okay, is kind of the word that we usually do. I would say it's more an imprint period for the dog to get used to the environmental factors that comes into a new home.
Right.
So it's not a plug and play thing. You cannot just bring the dog into your home and have him play with the other dogs in the yard. That's a no-no. The dog may health issues, may have behavior issues that haven't been known yet. It will show up as soon as the dog comes down in 1 or 2 days. And then you will have issues coming up and you don't know them. So you have to be prepared for them.
Yeah.
Separation, a baby gate or a crate would be good. Don't have the dogs interact with each other. You may have health issues with the dog. We don't know yet. Sometimes those dogs have no time to be evaluated in internal. Right. It's just a quick checkup, and if the dog, is safe to be transported or not. It's just regular, short vet visits on the spot.
Yeah.
Usually they're only just experienced people looking at the dog like he's fine. Okay. We don't know if he has worms or he has any other diseases. So the dog is being transported. He can get giardia on that transport. He can get infected, kennel cough in that transport, likely to happen, especially dogs from a shelter with all the stress factors. So you have a dog who's unhealthy coming into your home, infects all these dogs that you have in your household too. So separation is important, especially with puppies. It's not puppies to take you in bed. You have to keep the puppies just like being a real foster, and it's not your pet. I see people get overly emotional with pets and actually create more drama than the pet already is stressed about the situation.
Yeah.
So yes, we don't rely only on the rescue's information. We have to gather additional information and add to that information as well through our personal observations
Right.
on behaviors and temperament traits, and keep notes of that.
Yeah, and you mentioned the medical issue. They don't know unless they have the record of the dog. In that case, the dog will not be in a shelter. They will connect with their rightful owner. But we don't know if the dog has received all their shots, and that part need to be addressed. It's a medical issue. The dog might not have all the vaccine required, might not have all the boost shot required, and there's maybe a risk of virus or contamination for the dog.
Right.
Not only for this dog, but if the dog is contaminated, it came in your family, and then it can contaminate the other member of your pet family. And this is important if they have any symptom where the dog has refused to eat, throw ups, has diarrhea, and things like that. Please contact the shelter immediately.
Well, here's the thing. Usually the shelter would not be available in that situations because the shelter is coming out from the south or west or east. It's difficult. However, regular diarrhea and not eating is very common the first 1 or 2 days because of the stressors. So don't panic. Consult a local veterinarian. Their online veterinary services you can consult for almost for free for a low minimum fee, where you can get a lot of information. My dog does this. This is how it poops look like. This is his behavior that it looks like. You get first aid help.
Yeah,
I would take advantage of that.
And the other point is when you get the dog from a shelter. Let's say you're in. I'll speak for myself. Let's say I'm in Illinois. I'm in the Chicago area. I got a dog from the shelter. Well, there's support from the shelter. You're not abandoned as a foster parent for the dog, and you have no resources. So by staying in touch with the foster service, the shelter where the dog came from, they can provide support, including some veterinary expenses.
Veterinary care. Yep.
Right, veterinary care. As long as you tell the shelter, see this dog, my dog seems to have this problem, that problem. I think I need to take him to the veterinarian.
Veterinary care. Yep.
Thank you. And if the shelter is aware of that before you go there, they will authorize the cost, and they will also point out which facility to take the dog there for medical care. So you're not like, we dump a dog on your laps, walk away and ignore. It's a transitional period, and there's a support from the shelter where the dog come from, and you're not abandoned there at your own risk and condition. So that's a pretty good thing to know. And I will take this out of the way. So recently there was Laura, and Laura was a hurricane and hit the golf course and part of Florida. And there was a lot of transportation and a lot of dog and pet rescue during that time. And we just spoke with Kathy. She's now in New Mexico with Kelly. And Kelly has a service of rescue dog. And she worked with an organization who will fly dog from one location to a safe haven, a safe shelter. And so last week was the first operation where Kelly and a pilot called Julian Javar worked together, and they moved 34 puppies. and they sent me the material, the video for that, and I would like to share that video with you, and then we'll conclude the show, and we'll talk about next week. So let me share my screen here, share the sound, and I have the right file because I named the file, so I know what it is, and I can use this, and I will share it like that. So I'll shut up.
We loaded up 50 dogs, 6 mamas and 44 puppies out of Las Cruces and flew them back here to Helen Woodward in San Diego. It's really incredible. I mean, firstly, this trip is with brand new rescue partners. It's always very exciting to see like what's going to come of that, and it was awesome because Kelly out of New Mexico, she understands the importance of transport and how it really helps dogs get adopted. I mean, we're moving them for a reason. It means a lot because 85% of the dogs I fly get adopted within the first week of being there. So, and there's a lot of litters of puppies out there. There's hardly any spay neuter that goes on. And I mean, they have 44 almost 4-week to 8-week old puppies in a shelter. But at least for these 44, they're going to live good lives. I'm confident about it. Well, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to Helen Woodward and Kelly Barker out of New Mexico. And this was an awesome trip. I feel really excited about this new partnership. Thank you very much.
Et voila. So this was a short video. So this organization is a non-profit organization. Julian is part of that organization and is helping to move puppies, pets, dogs from one part of the country to the other. In this case, he went from New Mexico to San Diego, but in some other case, he can make trip as far as New York and Seattle and anywhere in the country, Texas, Atlanta, Tennessee. So
this is awesome.
Yes, it's a live save, and it's very impressive because you have the mom and the pup and the litter coming all together, and so kudos for the people doing that. We really appreciate the work done, and it's a great service that they are providing.
I think that we should be very careful, especially in these disasters. Everybody wants to have money out of it, so there are many organizations that try to make money out of it. So if you guys want to donate, you have to go and do your research, donate to rescues who are actually really active.
Yeah.
they're kind of vetted rescues. There's organizations that are certifying rescues for being transparent in their expenses and how they move their money. I know many rescues who do a lot of drama. We rescued 15 dogs, which is a lie. They only got 5 dogs. Nobody really knows where they come from, those dogs. And then all of a sudden, they just add super titles and make money out of it. And then they spread the money between the transporters. And, still those dogs have to be adopted with money. Doesn't mean it's for free.
Yep.
So this goes into the pocket. So we have to be very careful about that. Being a foster is a very important thing to do. Collaborate with a rescue that you're comfortable with. Do a test run. Make yourself available. Usually a good rescue, even if you're a foster or not, they will do a home check. If the foster is not being home checked, he's not a foster. It's a temporary parking lot, in my opinion, because we don't know what's going to happen with that dog.
Right.
I've did a lot of foster checks, and many of them basically failed in the basic hygiene. The balls were filthy. The property was filthy. The dogs would not be safe there. They would go in healthy and come out unhealthy.
Right.
And so it's not just we found a foster and now we dumped the dogs in there. We need to be very careful that a foster is supposed to be a healthy place and a comfortable place for the dog to be without creating more drama that the dog already has.
Right. So on these words of wisdom, thank you, Roman, for your contribution. And we saw Kathy at the beginning of the show. She did a flash appearance. She will be on the show next week from her new studio in New Mexico.
Yay!
Yay! She's the soul and the spirit of the Dog Connection. So I'm looking forward to have her back on the show next week. Meanwhile, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you very soon. I will close the show and say bye-bye.